What is reactive programming? Reactive programming is programming with asynchronous data streams. You can create data streams of anything. Streams are ubiquitous. Anything can be a stream X, variables, user inputs, properties, caches, data structures, etc. Let's say your Insta feed would be a data stream in the same fashion that click R. You can listen to that stream and react accordingly. What are some advantages of reactive programming? A lot simpler to do async/threaded work. A lot of operators that simplify work. Very simple to compose streams of data. Complex threading becomes very easy. You end up with a more cleaner, readable code base. Easy to implement back pressure. What are the core principles of Redux? Redux follows three fundamental principles. One single source of truth. The state of your whole application is stored in an object tree within a single store. The single state tree makes it easier to keep track of changes over time and debug or inspect the application. 2. State is ready only. The only way to change the state is to emit an action, an object describing what happened. This ensures that neither the views nor the network callbacks will ever write directly to the state. 3. Changes are made with pure functions. To specify how the state tree is transformed by actions, you write pure reducers. Reducers are just pure functions that take the previous state and an action, and return the next state. What is stream? A stream is a sequence of ongoing events ordered in time. It can emit three different things: a value, an error, or a completed signal. What is the reactive manifesto? The reactive manifesto is a document that defines the core principles of reactive programming. It was first released in 2013 by a group of developers led by a man called Jonas Boner. The reactive manifesto underpins the principles of reactive programming. Are there any similarities between Redux and RxJS? These libraries are very different for very different purposes, but there are some vague similarities. 1. Redux is a tool for managing state throughout the application. It is usually used as an architecture for UIS. Think of it as an alternative to Angular. 2. RxJS is a reactive programming library. It is usually used as a tool to accomplish asynchronous tasks in JavaScript. Think of it as an alternative to promises. Redux uses the reactive paradigm little bit because the store is reactive. The store observes actions from a distance and changes itself. RxJS also uses the reactive paradigm, but instead of being an architecture, it gives you basic building blocks, observables, to accomplish this observing from a distance pattern. Describe difference between reactive programming and imperative programming. In reactive programming, observables emit data, and send it to the subscribers. This can be seen as data being pushed in reactive programming as opposed to data being pulled in imperative programming where you explicitly request data, iterating over collection, requesting data from the DB etc. Explain the term non-blocking. In concurrent programming, an algorithm is considered non-blocking if threads competing for a resource do not have their execution indefinitely postponed by mutual exclusion protecting that resource. In practice, this usually manifests as an API that allows access to the resource if it is available, otherwise it immediately returns informing the caller that the resource is not currently available or that the operation has been initiated and not yet completed. A non-blocking API to a resource allows the caller the option to do other work rather than be blocked waiting on the resource to become available. This may be complemented by allowing the client of the resource to register for getting notified when the resource is available or the operation has completed. What does asynchrony mean in context of reactive systems? It means that the processing of a request occurs at an arbitrary point in time, sometime after it has been transmitted from client to service. The client cannot directly observe, or synchronize with the execution that occurs within the service. This is the antonym of synchronous processing, which implies that the client only resumes its own execution once the service has processed the request. What is actor model? All actor model says that your concurrency primitives are actors, which can 1. Receive a message and decide what to do next depending on the content of the message, including 2. Send messages to any actors they know about. 3. Create new actors. And provide certain guarantees, e.g. 1. Any actor will only handle a single message at a time. 2. Messages sent by actor X to actor Y will arrive in the order they were sent. What is back pressure? When one component is struggling to keep up, the system as a whole needs to respond in a sensible way. It is unacceptable for the component under stress to fail catastrophically or to drop messages in an uncontrolled fashion. Since it can't cope and it can't fail, it should communicate the fact that it is under stress to upstream components and so get them to reduce the load. This back pressure is an important feedback mechanism that allows systems to gracefully respond to load rather than collapse under it. The back pressure may cascade all the way up to the user, at which point responsiveness may degrade, but this mechanism will ensure that the system is resilient under load, and will provide information that may allow the system itself to apply other resources to help distribute the load. What is elasticity, in contrast to scalability? Elasticity means that the throughput of a system scales up or down automatically to meet varying demands as resource is proportionally added or removed. The system needs to allow it to benefit from the dynamic addition, or removal of resources at runtime. Elasticity therefore builds upon scalability and expands on it by adding the notion of automatic resource management.